All right, so if you made it through 9.1, that was the hardest day. Congratulations. Every day it's a little bit easier. I don't mean that like philosophically, I mean that actually, truly gets easier. We start to have more formulas, less guess and check. You can still use the guess and check. It's up to you. I'm going to use the formulas. So today we're going to focus on arithmetic. I know it looks like arithmetic, but we're a little bougie and we say arithmetic. All right, so it's arithmetic. And arithmetic basically means you add or subtract to go from term to term. That is called a D, common difference. The way you find the common difference is you would take the second term minus the first term, or any two consecutive terms. I think it's smart to check your difference in more than one location. So like say, for example, you could do D sub 5 minus D, what am I doing? Not D, A, right? Your terms. This makes no sense. All right, so it would be like your second term minus your first term. Or you could take your fifth term minus your fourth term. So it is smart. Don't just assume that, oh, I checked the first two and that's the pattern. Be careful. Just be careful. So let's try this out. So it says determine the common difference and find the next three terms. So it looks like we did, what, 11 minus 25? So that's negative 14. So we're subtracting 14. Negative 3 minus 14. Oh, yeah, definitely works. So I found it and then I checked it. And so our difference looks like it's negative 14. And then the next three terms, so negative 17 minus 14. Our next term would be negative 31. Don't look at the paper. I think I skipped that one. Then we subtract 14, negative 45, and we subtract 14 again, negative 59. All right. So every day we'll start to have a few more formulas. So this will honestly makes the problem a lot easier. You do not need to memorize any of these formulas. They will be labeled and given to you. That's what my little note on the board was for. I know the first day it didn't make any sense because there weren't any formulas, but there are formulas. So for an arithmetic sequence, to find the nth term, yesterday we did that guess and check, and that was not awesome. Today we're done with that. So that was short-lived. You're going to take your difference. This is going to be n minus 1, and then plus your first term. You don't have to write it like this. This is just to make sure you do the distributive property first, because order of operations matters. You could also have, let's say, your first term plus d times n minus 1, but when it's written like that, a lot of people do the arithmetic wrong and do this first, so I don't write it like that. I force you to sort of do the distributive property first and then add that first term. So a sub 1, of course, is your first term. You will not have these explained to you. You'll just be given this formula with this label. And d, of course, is your common difference, which you will not be given the formula for that. And so really and truly, today is algebra. Simple, basic, distribute, combine like terms. Distribute, combine like terms. That's all this is. So let's try some. So first thing we need to do is find the difference. So second term minus first term. So that's negative 11. Does that work? Negative 18 minus 11. Yeah, so our difference is negative 11. So now we have a sub n. We're writing a formula for a sub n. Write a rule, then find that term. So write the rule first and then plug the 24 or the 50 or whatever it is into your rule. So we have our difference, negative 11. N is n. We want to have the n in the answer. So that's our variable, and then our first term. So negative 11n plus 11 plus 4. So the pattern for a sub n is negative 11n plus 15. So this is the first answer. Then you're asked to find a sub 24. A sub 24 is, plug the 24 in there, negative 11 times 24 plus 15. A sub 24 is negative 249. Just wanted to check my answer because sometimes my written down answers, I don't know what I was doing. I did this so long ago that, anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to have, we're going to find the difference. So the difference, remember, take your second term, negative 5.5, subtract your first term. Yes, signs matter. It looks like we're dealing with negative 2.5, or basically subtract 2.5 as you go. So 8 to 10, yeah, it's a 2.5. So I'm going to go with that is correct. So a sub n is equal to the difference, negative 2.5. Remember, this is n minus 1, always, 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 plus your first term. Distribute. That's a minus 3. And combine like terms. So a sub n here is negative 2.5n minus 0.5. So then a sub 39, I'm going to throw this in the calculator. We get negative 98. I know that first day was crazy, but the crazy is kind of over. It was very short-lived. All right, so now we're going to be able to use this formula. That formula is too easy to just use, so we're going to be able to use this to find anything, any variable that's in the formula. You're going to have to use that. So backwards, forwards, inside out, however that means. So notice that a sub 22, this means that n is 22. The answer is negative 156. So we already know a sub n is negative 156, where difference is negative 9. The n is 22. What we don't know is the a sub 1. See that? So do the arithmetic in the correct order. You have to make this a 21 first, then do negative 9 times 21. Order matters in your order of operations. So negative 156 is equal to negative 189 plus a sub 1. So add that 189 over there, and our first term is 33. So we're looking for a sub 36, right? So that's the question. Find a sub 36. We know the difference is 7. We know that n is 36. And we know the first term is 29. This one is so straightforward. There's no algebra here. This is just arithmetic. So put that in your calculator if you want to. And we get 274. Ooh, here we go. A little PTSD from yesterday. Explicit and recursive formula. I tried to tell you yesterday, these don't go away. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry if you're getting a little seasick. All right. So, I'm going to do recursive first. Recursive is based on terms around it, basically terms before it. So it looks like we subtracted 6, subtracted 6, subtracted 6, yeah. So we subtracted 6 over and over. So recursive is 2 parts. Your first term, and then all the terms after that, you take the term before it and subtract 6. Now, if you want, we did this yesterday. You can just figure it out. How do I go from 1 to 37, 2 to 31? But today, we have a formula for that. So if you want to guess and check, go right ahead. I'm not going to. A sub n is equal to the difference, n minus 1, plus the first term. So negative 6n plus 6 plus 31. So, oh, that's a 37. I don't know why I can't read the 37. So a sub n, our explicit formula, is negative 6n plus 43. So the guess and check is over. So recursive should have 2 parts. Explicit is just using the formula. Arithmetic means. Now, I know you may not remember, but you did geometric means in geometry when you did right triangle stuff. Yeah, I know. Nothing, right? You don't remember. So an arithmetic means, these are terms between any 2 non-consecutive terms. I don't know how many terms there are. It could be 5 means between them. It could be 1 mean between them. So it kind of varies. So just to kind of give you an example, in this sequence, the arithmetic means between 8 and 32 are those three numbers. So the means are the numbers 14, 20, and 26. It's a fancy way to say find all the terms in between this number and that number. Now, again, elementary school arithmetic is a great way to solve this. So if that works better for you, go right ahead. I'm a little more algebra based, so I'm going to approach this using the formulas. But if you want to just subtract and divide, because that's essentially what we're doing, go for it. All right? So, and if you don't know what I mean by subtract and divide, then pretend I didn't say it. So we're looking for three means. So we have 50, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and then the last one is 118. We don't really know what order in the sequence this is. Like, is 50 the first term? Is it the 20th term? We don't really know. So we're just going to assume that this is term 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because we don't know what else to do. So just start at the beginning. We don't really have any other way to do it. So if you want to guess and check, like I said, subtract and divide, go for it. It might be faster. I'm going to not do that, and I'm going to solve the formula for D. So I know that 118 is my fifth term, which means I'm looking for D. N is 5, and my first term was 50. So 118 is equal to 5D minus, I don't know why I did that, it's 4D. 5 minus 1 is 4, everyone, and I know you know that. So 4 times D is 4D plus 50. Subtract the 50, divide by 4, which is essentially what you would have done when I said subtract and divide. So the pattern is nice here. So you can see we're going to subtract the 50. So we're going to do 118 minus 50, and we're going to take that answer and divide it by 4. So you don't divide by the number of terms that's missing. You divide by one more than that. That's the trick. Don't divide by 3, divide by 4. So we know that the difference is 17. So then we take 50 plus 17, 67, plus 17, 84, plus 17, 101, and it pays to add the 17, and you can see it does end up at 118. So if you like that, subtract and divide, then do it. So if you're not sure what to divide by, let's take a look at this. You divide by one more. So if you have to, I don't want to set this one up because it's a lot of blanks, but you can if you want to. So we would have 17, and then you'd have 7 blanks, and then the 5. I'm going to go ahead and just do the algebra. So 5 is, I don't know what D is, but 5 is my 9th term. All right, because 17 is 1, then there's 7, so now I'm up to 8, and then this is 9. So this is my 9th term. And my first term is 17. Excuse me. So we get 5 equals 8D plus 17. So again, the pattern, 5 minus 17 divided by 8, one more than what they say. So our difference is going to be negative 1.5 or negative 3 over 2. Totally up to you. If you want to have decimals, you can have decimals, right? Doesn't really matter. So now we need to find them all. Yikes. So we're just going to subtract 1.5. Remember, we're arithmetic. So we would have 15.5, 14, 12.5, 11. My brain stopped working, sorry. 9.5, 8, and 6.5. If we subtract 1.5 again, we'd end up at 5. Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but there are lots of story problems that go with these. It's really just a way of describing the sequence. It's just you have to read it to get the numbers rather than just get the numbers. So we have 35 seats in the first row. You know, I'm going to write this out. Then 39, then 43, and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to write recursive and explicit, and it never goes away. So it looks like add 4, add 4. So I'm going to do the recursive first. So a sub 1 equals 35. And all the terms after that are the term before it, a sub n minus 1 plus 4. Explicit, no more guess and check unless you want to. A sub n is equal to, difference is 4, n minus 1 plus the first term. So our explicit formula is 4n plus 31. Recursive, explicit. All right, so this is messed up, this problem. Yours might not be, but I think mine is. This is supposed to be 18. Let's take a look at it. Anna's first birthday, her grandma gave a check for a college savings account. Her grandma continued to send checks on her birthday, each for the same amount. At 18 years old, her grandma had given her a total of this is why it's jacked up. I think this sentence I don't need. At 18 years old, her grandma had given her a total of $12.70. How much did she give her on her first birthday? The 610, oops, that's not 610, was the total for age 7. All right, so that's a little messed up. So we know, what do we know? I don't even know. So 610, this is a sub 7. Then we have a bunch more, blah, blah, blah. And then over here we got 1270. This is a sub 18. We're looking for a sub 1. So we know that 1270. So I'm going to rewrite this a little bit. This is, if we think of this as being a sub 1, just for our own sort of sanity right now, this is 11 years later. So if this is a sub 1, then this could be essentially a sub 11. So that means 1270 is equal to, I guess we don't have to do it this way, but I'm going to do it this way. We don't know the difference, but we know this is 12. This would be 12 minus 1 plus our first term, which we're just sort of artificially calling that. So 1270 is equal to 11d plus 610. So this is the same pattern as the ones we did above there. Not number 9, but number 7 and 8. So when you subtract, you divide by one more than your number of blanks. So we're going to subtract and divide by 11. So we get d equals 60. And then I guess it's probably easier just to work backwards. Or plug it back in and find a sub 1. It's totally up to you. Don't forget that the elementary school arithmetic still works. So if we have 610 here, this is a sub 7, a sub 6, we'd subtract 60, a sub 5, subtract 60, and so on down the line, a sub 4, subtract 60, and we could just keep going until you get to $250 for that first term. Or you could do the algebra and set it up, because you're looking for a sub 1, and you have all the other answers, so it wouldn't be that hard to figure out, right? So we know that, how would we set this up? 610, and our difference is 60 times, this is 7 minus 1 plus a sub 1. So you could do it that way as well.